Well, today, what is today about? Well, today is just really a recap on where we've been last year and just a realignment or a readjustment, or looking back over the 5 year plan, reassessing that. Obviously, we have to deal with market conditions with these things as well. So you'll have some information about that. So we're just looking back, a bit of a review on last year, and then a little bit of a look, a glimpse into where we are now and where we're going in the future. So first up, I'd like to invite James to just begin our presentation. So James, over to you.
Yeah, so great to be here, guys. Looking forward to kind of recapping 2022, talking about 2023. And, I struggled with this a little bit. I was sharing this with the guys. A lot of what we're going to be talking about is stuff that we know, especially if you've been to Axion Fridays, because you've probably heard some of these leaks over and over and over again. But finally kind of bringing a few things to fruition where we can actually start moving forward with them and getting them out there and really kind of leveraging them. But 2022 was, in a lot of respects, as far as I'm concerned, it was a lot better of a year than most projects can really say for themselves. It really was a testimony to the strength of our community, and to the capacity we have as a project to overcome obstacles and to accomplish things in spite of difficult conditions. So I know I'm really proud of that, and I think I can speak for everybody here that we're quite proud of that, and I know a lot of our community members are proud of that. And so a lot of what you're going to hear is not going to necessarily be new news, like I said, especially if you've been to Axion Fridays, but we're really kind of gearing this towards those who are going to be looking at Axion in 2023. And we want to have something that's fresh, relevant, current, that really speaks to the heart of our ecosystem and helps us to reach that a greater audience. So we'll be talking about our 5-year plan, which we rolled out last year, updates to that, and then a lot of the milestones that we've accomplished.
Yeah, thanks, James. In fact, what James covered was actually what the core team felt as well. For us, what was firm and important was that we keep true to the 5-year master plan. But being true to the master plan also means that it does not mean that this is it, this is the blueprint, and this is the only way to go. So as core team, and this is where we get community feedbacks, and also feedbacks from our partners as well, to see if there are certain tweaks that we wanted to do. As you can see, for 2022, we spoke about trying to launch more projects via Axion Launch. We wanted to execute the Axion Studios and also look into the DeFi 3.0 as well. But all of that proved to be very challenging for us, and this is where the team actually decided to actually focus on other type of activities. James, do you mind moving on to the next slide?
Yeah.
So just to give an insight on our thought process on why we did not want to proceed with some of the items over here, like for example the Axion launch. One of the reasons is that we found that obviously there were still projects that was wanting to launch together with us. We were getting a lot of inquiries from projects and stuff. However, one of the biggest challenges with these projects, some of them, is that they do not have sufficient backings from relevant organizations. Like for example, either a VC backing or number two, having at least built a community around the project itself. So with that, for us, we felt that it was our due diligence to not to take on those projects, and instead what we wanted to do was to actually look into building a launch alliance, which James will actually be sharing more in details later on in the slides as well. We were looking also into the Axion Studios as well. As you guys know, in April last year, the NFT scene took a change in the model. From a model where users can pay to mint NFTs. The market actually took on a free mint model where users don't have to pay anything. So because of that, it was not possible for us to actually raise funds to actually execute Axion Studios. And this is where the team decided, okay, if that's the case, shall we postpone the Axion Studios for the time being and look into trying to gather new revenue models to actually raise funds rather than using the NFT approach. And DeFi 3.0 was also another thing that we were looking at last year. And then another challenge came, and that was the idea of that most decentralized exchanges, DEXs, they can't support sell taxes. So the idea here is if you want to continue to have new staking farms, new yield farming farms over on third-party partners, websites and stuff, we won't be able to do that if we were to have taxes. And as a team we actually weigh the pros and cons, and we realize that okay, maybe DeFi 3.0 is not something that we can execute now. Probably it's something that we can look in the future when DEXs are actually equipped to actually handle the cell taxes. So yeah, so we'll go into details later on. Maybe what I'll do is I'll hand it over back to Andy. Andy can probably recap on the statistics for 2022.
Yeah, thank you, DP. So as you heard from DP there, we have to react to market conditions as well. So that is going to have a bearing on things as well. But we are pressing on, which was our kind of goal. Really was to do all we could in the bear market and not just hibernate away. Like a little hedgehog or a bear in the US or wherever. We get little hedgehogs, but you get bears over there. So the intention was to just not just stay afloat, but try and do all we can to make Axion as successful as possible once we come out of this bear market. So in a review of the statistics there, now we keep we used to, without trying to lose anyone, but we used to, our statistics were just totals that were based on APIs. So the totals were just automatically put into text files. And so we didn't have historical data. But Pullen, before he left really, or took his gardening leave or whatever, he started to work out a better way of managing that so that we could capture historical data. So from April of last year, we started to collect historical data. And so that's going to prove useful now as we go forward in analyzing statistics and so forth. So they now are kept in a MySQL database, and we can use those to see trends and stuff, so forth. So in terms of the total supply, you see there is 34 billion. I can't actually see that screen too well there. There we are, it's better. Yeah, so the total token stake, 249 billion, which is 74% of the supply there. 90 billion is in liquid, and you can see there 49% is staked for 5555. 17,000 holders holding at least one Axion, and 46 billion Axion total burnt. So as of the moment, 167 billion Axion staked max, 49% of the supply at max staking, and at 21st of the 1st, a value of 1.2 million Axion locked away for the next 15 years. And I think that's important because potential people who are interested in launching with us or so forth, or partnerships, they see that we have investors who have put away a lot of money for 15 years in crypto, which is really unheard of, isn't it? And so they see that as an asset, really, that we are a community that is here to stay. And so that is favorable for Axion when we deal with partnerships and so forth. Next slide, please. Right, so I just wanted to bring some comparisons there. As I mentioned, we only have historical data from April 2022. But I just thought I'd compare that with January 2023 as of when I did these reports. And you can see there, so the blue bars are literally last year from April. And there's the comparison then with January in the yellow gold bar, 23. So last year we had 257 billion total staked. This year we have 255 billion. The total supply was 336. It's gone up 7 billion to 343. Last year, the circulating supply was 80 billion. It's gone up 9 billion to 89. And obviously the burn-in stats have gone from 40 to 51. So these figures are rounded up, but there's about 10 billion really of Axion that has been burnt in between. And so really to think about it in this way, we are in a bear market and those stats are not too bad really for those things. And as you can see from the burn stats, we continue to burn progressively, and that is really helping control inflation. And those of you that were around, I don't know, a couple of years back would have known really our inflation would have gone through the ceiling by now. But the burning mechanism has been set in place, and that really is helping for inflation. Now, on the inflation differences, well, could only calculate that really from the historical data from April. So we set off in April. Then in May, you can see it was 0.08%, and then gradually through the year. And this final column on the right is the total inflation. So the combined inflation, and that's for a 9-month period, and that is 2.22%. So you can see really we've almost going to touch a year soon, and we can see really that we've got inflation around about 3%, which is well controllable and well manageable. And in the future as well, we'll have other mechanisms to kind of reduce that as well. So all in all, not too bad on inflation and those stats. Next slide, please. Over to who's taking this one.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah. I think you made a comment that kind of really stood out to me, and what's really kind of stood out as I've talked with other projects, and that is our staking stats are probably one of the most attractive things and one of the most bullish things our ecosystem has to offer. The fact that we have we've got 17.2 thousand. Those are wallets with liquid. And I think once we combine our liquid and our staked, there's a lot of people that have staked Axion that don't have any liquid. So we're closer to the 22, 23,000 range when it comes to actual wallets or holders. And as I talk to other projects, this is something that is extremely attractive. It really draws people to want to kind of understand the mindset of our community. And we do have we have a community that understands long-term investment and long-term holding. Looking to the future, not just trying to make a dollar today, but looking at, taking our assets, taking our wealth and putting it to work over time. So, and that really kind of feeds into some of these milestones that we've accomplished. And if any of you have seen some of that, we've been putting this out now, but we really want to kind of this is something we really want to promote, and this is something as community members, this is something really to be stoked about, to be proud about, to be excited about. Our project's 2 years old, and we're still thriving. And while we might be down as far as token value, or depressed in community engagement just because of the bear market in general, overall, we still have a very vibrant, very valuable, and very relevant community of token holders. So as we see things start to pick up in this, once we hit the bull market, I've got my finger on May. Once we kick into a more bullish market, these things are really going to come to play to bring that value and help us leverage. So most of these stats that we're talking about here on the milestones, Andy's covered. A couple of them that are really significant are the fact that we took our core contract, our token contract is now immutable. It cannot be upgraded, can't be changed. We can't add taxes. We can't push any major changes to the way our ecosystem works. And that's something that was really important to the team as we were coming into the close of 2022 and our anniversary, our 2-year anniversary, was to establish a more secure and finite system for our tokenomics. And of course, we added the max mint. And a lot of these things we're going to be mentioning more than once, but these are those bullet points, if you will, that we as community members, as we're engaged in other communities, as we're tweeting, as we're talking to friends, these are all aspects of our ecosystem that truly set us apart from 80 to 90% of other projects out there. One of the things that we were really excited and proud of is our alliance with ApeSwap. We're listed on that DEX. You don't have to import the token anymore to trade Axion. And the fact that Axion starts with an A, we're at the very top of that list. So we launched our Jungle Farm, which was extremely successful, and we still have the Treasury bill, which I think the discount on that's hitting 13% right now. So I think I'm about ready to dig into it again. There were some hiccups in that process, partly because of the tax that we had, but we overcame that. But there's been some other hiccups with that the way that the Treasury bill was put out, there was a little miscommunication there, which is why it's taken so long for the entirety of that Treasury bill to be purchased. But at the same time, it's given us a lot more stability and sustainability in how the Treasury bill is working and how it's contributing to our liquidity. And we do hope in the next month or two, as soon as this Treasury bill has completely been exhausted, we are going to be looking at a new Treasury bill that will have a much lower sell length. And so there will be a lot more available in a shorter period of time. Another thing that we accomplished in 2022 was we got our Galaxy stakes. We got them up and running. And so now users are able to take that stake, whether it's a 1-year stake, a 5-year stake, a 30-day stake, a 15-year stake, and you can convert that into an NFT. And at any point in time, should you want to move that stake or sell your stake, you'll be able to do that through OpenSea. And we are still working on our asset manager to ensure that if you're moving your stake from one owned address to a secondary owned address, you'll be able to do that without any penalties or fees or anything. So we're still working on that. But very excited to finally have that available. And then, of course, we've got our Phoenix NFT. And we're going to be matching that now with our Stacker NFT. We'll talk about that a little bit in just a little bit. But with the Phoenix NFT, you're able to, depending on your initial investments in the accelerator, will determine whether you get a standard NFT, a silver, or a gold NFT, which will give you future discounts on your stakes. And those will now extend beyond the August or the February 22nd date. We are looking through the stacker to be able to continue to pair that up with the diamond NFT. And so the Phoenix was born from our summer stakes program, but we recently reinitiated that, and there are now a finite amount of both the Phoenix, the silver, and the gold NFTs. There'll be information. There's information on that in our knowledge base, which we'll be covering here in a little bit. So with that, maybe Andy can talk a little bit about summer stakes and where we're at with a few things on that.
Thank you, James.
Andy is great. Hey, 15 seconds or we'll get banned.
Just the intro.
Well, East Coast girls are hit by red.
Okay.
There you go. A little bit into some mistakes. Yeah, so we had some summer madness, and we had some prizes and some Phoenix NFTs, and just a little bit of encouragement, really, to keep things together in Axion, get our people kind of enthused about stuff, and hopefully, it was the idea to try and obviously support the token a bit better through difficult times. And yeah, I think we achieved part of that, which is quite good in a difficult market. But these were the prizes that we actually gave away. And the second and third prize, I think it was, had to be redrawn. So we had two winners actually that didn't come forward after about 5 or 6 weeks. And so we had to redraw. And then the prizes went, but all of those winners are happy with their winnings, so that's good. And we also have Axion baseball caps that are about to drop, and so I know that many of you have actually qualified for a baseball cap, so they will be coming soon. We are having some issues, which James will mention a little bit later with the store. But they will be coming soon. So, and we've got your names and addresses. You can see on the bottom of that slide there, 50 runners up receive Axion baseball caps. So there is a little short URL there. If you want to use that URL, if you haven't already recorded the fact that you are a qualifying stakeholder, and don't be like some people that have registered for the baseball cap without having made a stake or anything, and then I confront them and say, you don't qualify because you haven't made any stakes at all. Oh, I didn't know that you had to make a stake. So So if you did make a stake at that period through some mistakes, then please do get in touch, because there are several that haven't actually come forward to claim their caps. So if you want to do that, then follow that link there. You can take a note of it. We'll post it in an announcement later on as well. And then just register the fact that you are a qualifying stakeholder, because we do cross-check these anyway. So, and then you will soon get a very adorable Axion cap. And that's it from some mistakes, I believe. So over to you.
So yeah, again, just kind of recapping 2022, some of the successes that we were able to achieve, and the accomplishments that we were able to enjoy. And as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we were able to set our core contract as immutable. We called that locked and loaded. We introduced a max mint to the accelerator. So we have a soft supply cap now that is, I believe, coming in around 425 to 430 billion once the accelerator reaches end of life, which we anticipate is still a good year from now. We also rolled out the banker contract, which manages the different allocations, distributions through the accelerator, and we set our final distributions in the accelerator. So we know that Bitcoin rewards through the accelerator will never be touched again. We know that we're building our treasury and our foundry, and supporting the ecosystem through the accelerator. And then as we develop other revenue streams, we'll continue to support all of those aspects of our ecosystem.